So here's how we're going to draw the eye. We're going to start off by actually drawing in a circle for the eyeball. Now, we don't see the eyeball when we look at someone, but drawing this in is going to help us get the right structure for the eye. So we start off just with a circle, rough circle for the eyeball. And then we're going to draw the iris, the coloured part of the eye, in the middle of this. Okay? So notice the proportion, how big it is. This distance, this distance, this distance. It's almost thirds, but the iris is slightly bigger. Okay, now the pupil, which is the dark part of the eye, we can just sketch this in as well. The other thing we're going to do now is we're also going to sketch in the highlights in the eye, so where the light is reflected off. So this is a little bit that's highlighted, so I want to make sure I don't pencil in these areas. And there's a little bit down here, and we've actually got a bit of reflection there. Okay, so this is my drawing so far. So now we're going to add in the eyelids. Now the eyelids, the outside eyelid, the bit furthest away from the nose, actually comes down just about on the edge of the eyeball. Now you want to have a look at the picture that you've got. Sometimes the crease is, where the iris is directly horizontal. Sometimes it's down a bit. Okay, so if I look at my photo here, you can see if this is the iris here, if I go across, actually it's down a little bit. So that's where the eyelid is coming down. Okay, so it cuts off the top of the iris, and then I've got to come down a little bit. Okay, have a look at my photo again. So here, and you can see it's cutting off the top of the iris, and then that angle. And notice that's the edge of the eyeball. I'm actually going outside the edge of the eyeball. So here, I'm going down and outside the edge of the eyeball. Now the lower lid normally comes slightly inside the upper lid, so it's going to start here and it's going to skirt the bottom of the iris, and towards the inside it raises up a little bit and down. Okay? Again, in our photograph we can see this going up and then down again. So here, this bit here is the tear duct, and that's the edge of our eyeball. Now we can actually get rid of these guidelines that we had. We don't need those anymore, so I'm just going to rub those out. Okay, so now what I need to do is put in the crease in the eyelids. So again, look at your photograph, and so here's the edge of the lid, and I want to mark in this line. So have a look, what's the thickness here, what's the thickness here, what's the thickness here? Is it a smooth curve? This one is a bit flat along the top. Okay, so it's thicker here and goes up a bit and then a bit flat and then down. And as I'm doing this, I'm really looking at the photograph to try and get the angles right. Okay, the eye that you're doing might be a bit different. The bottom lid also has a thickness. Okay, again, some people you can really see it, some people you can see it a bit less, but we don't want to have that sort of thickness here. Okay, you might also notice that there's a line underneath the eye, where that sort of padding is underneath the eye. Again, some people don't have this so much, so make sure you look at your photograph. So now I'm going to start with the shading. So the first thing I'm going to do is shade in the coloured part of the eye, and look how I'm going around those bits that were highlighted, that are reflecting the light, just avoiding those. Now, this person has very dark eyes, so it doesn't really matter, I'm going to colour it in quite hard. If you've got somebody with lighter coloured eyes, you might want to actually move your pencil in the direction of the little bands of colour that you get in the iris. So sort of from the centre towards the outside. And then the pupil, which is the darkest part, I'm going to really fill in. And this person has got very dark eyes, so we almost can't see where the pupil ends and the coloured iris begins. Okay. Now the eye still looks very flat here, and in fact the eyeball is a ball, so we need to shade it. So this part in here is the tear duct, which is a bit darker. But we don't want it all one colour because it is three-dimensional, so notice how I'm shading a bit underneath more. And then I'm just going to shade in the eyeball very, very lightly, leaving these bits unshaded and a little bit more shading in the corner. And I'm going to do the same over here. So the bit of the eyeball that's popping out the most, this bit, I'm leaving with no pencil, and the bit of the eyeball that's furthest in the crease, I'm going to darken. And can you see how that's made it quite three-dimensional? So now I'm going to go over the eyelid creases. Okay, so I'm just darkening it a little bit. And I want to put in the eyelashes. Now be very careful with the eyelashes, you don't want to have them sticking out like spider's legs. So have a look at the image that you've got and notice where you can see the eyelashes. Now you can see here I can barely see the eyelashes. I can just know that they're there because it's a bit thicker and darker. There's a little bit of texture in here. Okay, so I'm going to thicken it and make it all quite dark. So we know that the eyelashes are in there. And really just in here, there's this little bit of eyelash going on. On the bottom lid, make sure your eyelashes, there's the lid, make sure the eyelashes are on the outside part of the lid. They go from the outside. Okay. So I'm just going to go over the crease again. And now I want to start with a bit more shading. So this bit under the eye, there's a lighter band and then darker, which is going to make it look a bit more three-dimensional. And in here, where we've got the start of the lid, what we need to look for is the darker areas, the mid-tones, and then the highlighted areas. Okay, so we have the darker areas here. Sort of mid-tone. Notice how lightly I'm pressing with my pencil. And then the darker areas here. Now the darker areas are very important because that's how we define the shape of the nose as well. Shaded areas. And notice there's always a bit of highlighting here where it catches the light, so if you make a mistake you can always go in with your rubber and rub it out a bit. And now for the eyebrows. So again, look at the angle. You can use your pencil to check the angle, and with the eyebrows use your pencil in the same direction that the eyebrow hairs grow in. So if you can see the hairs, use them, and make sure you get the shape of the eyebrow correct. Some people have very straight eyebrows, some people have pointy eyebrows, some people eyebrows are quite short. Make sure you focus on getting that right. And there we go, an eye.